We are back in Colorado, and the Buffaloes have a bye this week, but you still get in a lot of work. It gives you an opportunity to do some of the things that's really hard to get done during a typical game week. Yeah. And then also, just as important, maybe more important than the work they do on the practice fields this week, is that break they're going to get. We had a chance to talk to the coordinators today, Brian, and Robert Livingston almost got a little choked up thinking about the fact that he gets to spend some time with his family today, or this week.
Yeah, and he actually mentioned early on in us talking to him, he goes, I probably spend more time with these guys than my own family, unfortunately. And then he mentioned, he's going to spend some time with the family, got choked up. And, this is an important week for all of them. It's an important week for us. We can spend more time with our families a little bit, too, this week. And, I was going to say real quick, I know we're back in Colorado because your head's not sweating.
Hey, hold this for a second. I'm gonna kiss the ground of Colorado again real quick.
You guys can't see it, but he literally is kissing the ground right now. So
right. I'm so happy to be back in Colorado. You have no idea. That was so brutal. Out in that humidity. I've experienced humidity. That was like on another level.
That was next level humidity that day.
Got mud on my hands now.
Yeah, I just had to bring that up because the last video we did got a little bit of attention. So yeah, I'm glad you're back in Colorado. I'm glad I'm back in Colorado. But yeah, it's an important week for everybody to be back here, and I'm glad we have 2 bye weeks this year actually, and it's important for a lot of ways, just to kind of catch your breath a little bit. And there's 2 theories on the byes, I guess, that like when you're rolling along like this team is, you want to keep going, but there's also like you're 5 weeks in, and I think this is a really good time for a bye to let some bodies heal a little bit. And there's a reason why Travis Hunter gets several practices off every week, because they want to preserve him for the game, right? Well, everybody else needs some of that too, and so this is a great week to kind of let those bodies heal a little bit.
It was great talking to the coordinators, especially off last week, because everybody's in a great mood. It was such a fantastic performance in all phases of the game. With both of them, the thing that has stood out the most to me with both of them has been adaptability. And maybe folks didn't expect to see that from Pat Shurmur for whatever reason, and it would probably have to do with his time with the Broncos. But we saw UCF's defense coordinator say we weren't ready for some of the stuff they were doing. And so that was impressive to see. He also did say, when I talked about the tight end, that, hey, that's not going to be our approach every week. We're a 10 personnel team generally, but to see him be able to kind of shake things up a little bit and exploit some things in a game planning standpoint was encouraging, I thought.
Yeah, and actually, he was asked about kind of self-scouting himself, and he said, look, sometimes you look at tendencies, and he goes, I actually went away from some of my tendencies this last week, and we saw that, and those are things that I think that longtime Broncos fans that maybe scar a little bit said, oh, that's just Pat Shurmur, he's not going to do that, but he went away from some tendencies. He talked about that this week, and it was interesting to hear him say that, especially a couple days after listening to the UCF defensive coordinator say, we didn't think they were going to do some of those things. And so I thought that was a masterful game plan by Colorado, and they did a great job. And it's one thing going forward. Now I'm now curious, what are they going to do against Kansas State? What are they going to do against Arizona that they haven't seen yet? And so they're going to stick to their 10 for the most part, like Pat Shurmur said. But I love the wrinkles. I love mixing in the tight end. I love that he talked about Draylon Miller. I love that you give him a couple of touches a game, and maybe it's more. So I love some of the things they're doing to mix it up.
Yeah, and it's a situation going forward where you're going to have to continue to do that, because they're going to game plan for you. At the same time, how do you game plan for those 4 receivers that Colorado has out there in 10 personnel? It's borderline impossible when you're giving Shedeur Sanders protection. So even at the same level, your bread and butter is still going to be those 4 guys out wide.
Yeah, those 4 guys, and man, there's 5 or 6 really, if you really wanted to go that deep, in as which we know. But those 4 guys, and a guy like Will Shepard, blasted a lot the week before after that drop against Baylor, comes back, has a great game this last week, and you never know whose game it's going to be. Jimmy Horn's had huge games. LeJonte Wester scored in 4 straight games now. Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter. So it's an amazing group.
Defensive coordinator Robert Livingston he even apologizes when he does coach speak, but a lot of it really is what I took away from that was the fact that he said the communication has gotten so much better, and it's kind of like a basketball team. You throw them out there on the court, and you're not going to have that sense of where they're always going to be. And it's similar with run fits of being able to trust, especially the guy next to you. And it sounds like that chemistry is coming along, which is important for them going forward.
Yeah, it was really interesting listening to him as well. And he was talking about how. He goes, look, going into North Dakota State, he goes, I think I even said this, that we sort of needed name tags out there because guys were getting to know each other. He goes, well, now you've got guys that, you got like 4 guys up front that have now rushed together 100 times during games, and now they know what to do and they can play off of each other. And that's the type of chemistry that, that you always talk about in football, right? And people said that CU wouldn't have. Well, they're gaining that as the season goes along, and we're seeing that. And it was fun to see guys like, just over the last couple of weeks, Shane Cokes is really starting to make some big plays, and Sam Okunlola made some big plays, and Taj McCoy, guys that maybe haven't played as much as they would like are making some big plays, and Chidozie getting back in there, making some big plays. So these guys are just kind of they're gelling.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I talked about this football team being different when I did a lot of the national stuff was that the depth on this team is better than I've seen in Colorado in a very long time. 2016, I don't even think they had the depth that they have in this program right now when they won the Pac-12 South. So it's been a very, very long time. And that's the other thing that's really stood out during these first 5 games. Deion Hayes goes down. For a Colorado team in the past, that would have been really, really impactful. But then you said Arden Walker, Tajay McCoy, Sam Okunlola, you have these waves of guys. Levante Bentley gets a little banged up. Jalen Wester comes into play, forces a fumble, almost forced another fumble, graded out really well. It's safety Shiloh Sanders goes down. Carter Stoutmeyer steps in, and you don't miss a beat. So that's the other part of it that's really stood out to me, especially when you look at this defense and some of the injuries they have had early on this season.
Yeah, I remember before that game in Orlando, I put a tweet out right before the game. Here's a list of the key guys that are out today, and it was like 6 or 7 guys. And I remember it was only one person, but one person commented, "I'm out." And another one said, "Colorado's cooked today." Well, no, they weren't. Because of those guys that stepped in. Another guy I got to mention, Kareem Harden. Khalil Benson was injured and didn't play and make the trip. Kareem Harden steps in there. He's got some starting experience, but he came out. I don't know what he graded out at, but he played well. I mean, that offensive line played well. He was a part of that, and so you look at guys that go down. Trevor Woods, decides to redshirt. He's not there anymore in those dime packages. Well, other people step in and they don't miss a beat. So the depth I think is really good, and even again a receiver. You mentioned those 4. You also got Amarion Miller, and you got Draylon Miller can be out there. You got Terrell Timmons, who we haven't really seen a whole lot this year, but when we have, he's impressive too. So the depth is, and even running back. Let's go there real quick because we've now seen 3 guys that look like they can run the ball pretty well.
Isaiah Augustov had 40 yards on his first 2 carries, and at that point, he was tied for the game's lead as the rusher in that football game. So it's pretty incredible. I think the depth is something, though, that it really matters when you get week 10, 11, 12. And so I still think this is going to be, the theme as we go forward with this football team. It's kind of nice when the guys you talk about all offseason are legit and they back it up out there. And I'm glad you mentioned Kareem Harden because he almost should be like an honorary original Buffalo because of how much that offensive line was criticized, and he stepped up to the challenge and had a big game on Saturday.
Well, and he was a guy, frankly, when you started seeing the offensive linemen leave in the offseason, I thought when's Kareem going as well, because they almost all left, right? And guys, when they're bringing in all these new guys, I think it's I don't know him. I've never talked to Kareem Harden, but I think it's a testament to him that he stuck it out and was like, look, they're bringing all these guys in, but I'm going to stay here. He stayed here, and he's getting opportunities, and he's playing well. And so, he's one. I agree with you. He's got to be an honorary OB.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today's analysis video. We'll get into Kansas State, but I feel like we've got to enjoy this bye week a little bit. Yes. Do you have any plans this week?
We're going to go up to the mountains, I think, and we love going to Rocky Mountain National Park in the fall and seeing the elk and doing that. This is a great time for that, and I need to go fishing at one point this week. I need to get up on the river where there's no cell service and just get away for a couple hours. So how about you?
Well, Friday I'm going to actually go to Loveland High's game to watch Zane DeSouza. He is an in-state recruit that's committed to Colorado in the 2025 class. But on Saturday, our middle child has a karting ceremony down in Colorado Springs. Going to do that, and I'm going to try to get in the gym and see how much my bench max has gone down in the last couple months.
I like that. My son's got a baseball doubleheader on Saturday. My other son's got a cross country. So yeah, we'll be busy. It'll be fun.
All right, we'll get into Kansas State next week. Thanks for tuning in.